No, there's no discount. The truth is
Hey, April.
hey, Tanya. Hey, girl.
How are you?
I am fantastic. That's the answer that I always give because it is always true.
Absolutely. I'm with that. I just want to welcome everybody to the afterthought. April and I are going to have a quick chat. There were some things that, me as the host working on myself, I didn't ask her. And I just want to ask her a couple quick questions so that I can have clarity. Because at the end of this, I'm going to tell you all the things that I've learned from April and that you should learn as well. Are you ready, April?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question is really simple. We were talking a lot about, knowing your value. So, and we discussed about perceived value and how the challenges of our clients expecting discounts,
Yes.
particularly during people of color that look like us, our friends, and everybody wants
Yeah.
our services for less. So, how do you approach setting your prices and conveying your products worth to your diverse customers without compromising your values or your revenue?
Well, first, I love that question because that's a question that I am asked so often by entrepreneurs. What happens when you set your price and then someone kind of wants to bargain down? Now, I do not have a hard and fast rule, and nor do I say I set my price because it's my value. I set my price where I believe it should be in the marketplace, right? So the marketplace is not just one marketplace. It's almost like the way that I set my price is kind of like when you buy a bag of potato chips and you can buy the same brand at different stores and you can get them for slightly different prices. So I
Yes.
kind of use that pricing methodology for even my legal services and our baked goods as well. So the same price may not be the same price at my DC store versus my Baltimore store because so many things go into how you price, who your customers are, what your overhead costs are, and then how you are penetrating the market based off of that profit and loss model and that revenue model. So it's more science than anything. But let's just talk about, well, when people come in and they demand discounts just for the sake of asking, it if I would lie if I would say I say no, there's no discount. Um, the truth is it depends on who the person is, the way that they approach me, and how I really feel about them. Because there's always something innate about people that will tell you, yes, you need to go ahead and give them this discount for whatever reason, whether it's that you feel like you need to do it for them, or it could be that you feel like they really want your product and they don't have any options, or you just want to do something kind. But there are a lot of times when I say absolutely no, because there's also the other side of that conversation where you have to train and condition people to meet you where you are. And if you constantly offer discounts, then you are discounting yourself. So that's kind of how I manage that conversation. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Do you believe, because you're a woman of color who's running a business, that people are more prone to ask you for a discount?
100%. 150%. And if you discount that, 100%.
Exactly.
Right. 100%. I do believe that when it comes to other people of color and people that are not of color, when it comes to Black people, and I'm not saying minority, I am saying Black people, we start with discounting. It's societal, it's historic, and quite honestly, it's disgusting.
I receive it because I'm sitting here thinking, just for lack of it's probably not a good example, but they wouldn't go into a Saks or Neiman Marcus and
No,
ask them to discount.
no. So
in
when people
their
do,
bakery store, they wouldn't
right,
go in and ask them.
and I find that the reason that we do it is just so complicated. But at the end of the day, I have to ask customers sometimes, what makes you think to ask me for it if you didn't ask the people next door? And then what usually happens is there's a level of awareness with their question for the discount, or it's met with anger. right? So you're now angry with me because I am asking you what makes you think that it's okay to ask me about a discount, right? And then I really don't like when people ask for discounts because we share the same color. We black,
Exactly.
you black, I'm black. Ain't no such thing as a black discount. You put at Nordstrom.
Exactly. It's no such thing, right?
Well, my mortgage company don't give me the black discount. So then I have to look at people and say, but because we share the same color, wouldn't you want to honor me by honoring my prices? Or if you were behind someone in line that didn't look like you and they are dragging me down asking me for a discount, wouldn't you be irritated and wouldn't you call her a Karen? So it's that double standard right there, right? That sometimes we
Right.
operate in and we don't even realize that we have a double standard when it comes to us. We have to get that in order. It drives me nuts when we like to wear the t-shirts that say buy black. For some people, it's just say buy black and on the back, but please don't ask for a discount.
Exactly.
Because we do a disservice to ourselves when we are constantly telling the world that we are not worth a whole, right? It lacks integrity. And it's really interesting because the word integrity, the base of it, integer, means to be whole.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have people who are asking for discounts just for the sake of it, they are lacking integrity, which means that they are not operating at 100%. So if you're not operating out of 100%, then you can only ask me for the discount because you treat yourself that way.
Correct.
I typically get people who ask for discounts and they're really serious about it, people who don't treat themselves at 100%. You can only give what you got.
You can only be who you are.
Walking around here living life at 50%, then you can only see me as 50%.
Exactly.
When you come through these doors, we elevate you to 100% plus.
Whether you know it or not, right?
You're gonna be elevated. You're gonna want to pay. You're gonna want to pay 100%, and you're gonna want to pay a tip, right?
I love it. My next question is really about the reality of sacrifice for success. Do marriage or do my dreams? And so my real question is, I'm sure people are like, how could you choose your personal life in terms of letting it go to the wayside and you move forward with taking care of your son and building your business and making your dreams come true, and marriage is not a priority for you?
No.
So how do you navigate that societal expectations, particularly as a Black woman facing all the unique on top of all the unique challenges that we face, but the main one of not getting married, that's not a priority?
Yeah, so no, it's never been a priority. And it's never been a priority because I try to be honest with myself. I looked at the women around me who are married, who've been in long-term relationships, and I look at all of the problems that have been laid at their doorstep. But then I also look at their careers, and I also realize that their careers are nowhere where it should or could be, because they have so much stuff that they are managing at home that is not within my bailiwick to tolerate. And because I never wanted to be dragged down by somebody else's luggage, I understood that the sacrifice meant that you would be by yourself. And I was okay with it, and I still remain okay with it. As I get older, I think that you mature into a certain type of wisdom that allows you to be kind to yourself, to say that whatever other people's expectations are, whatever the norm is, get married, be with someone, have a life partner. Wisdom tells you to choose happiness and to choose joy each time. And I am comfortable with myself. I like myself, and I love the family that I have that surrounds me. So there is no such thing as emptiness, and there is no need for me to ever think that in order to be whole, I have to have someone attached to me. But because I chose this road, I think that being an entrepreneur requires sacrifice, and regardless of what people think or say, somebody is going to lose. And I knew for a fact that it would not be my son, and it would not be me. And I knew that if I brought in a man into the relationship, there is nothing for me to give him. And I think it's irresponsible for people to take on too much responsibility. And that's where problems come in, when you bite off more than you can chew. And I was not willing to stretch myself so thin that I couldn't give anything of value to anyone. So I chose myself, and I chose my son, and I chose my businesses.
And I received that. I guess the real question is, you had to choose that at such a young age. Where did you get that wisdom from?
I don't know if it's wisdom or foolishness. Because you ever just look around at other people's lives, right? And you see how they live, and you say, I don't want to be like that. And when I looked at my friends and I looked at my family members that tried to have it all behind the beautiful white gate and behind their beautiful estates and mansions, they were just miserable. And I was like, I just don't want to be like that. I love to wake up every day and be centered and have joy. And I don't know if that comes from wisdom, or I don't know if that just comes from me putting in parameters around my life and me being very clear about what it is that I am willing to accept, and me being very clear about what the results of my choices would be. So I don't know if that's wisdom or if that's just being comfortable with consequences. Because the consequence of my life is that I don't get to put on the pretty dress and go out and look at the man across, from the table, and he's gleaming at me, and we're dreaming about building a life together. That's real. Instead, it's replaced with staff meetings with my team, right? Trying to build something greater than myself. But when you really look at it, lots of people that are successful, they don't spend a lot of time with their families. They are building. And I believe that the reason that they chose family is because it's always been the norm. Mm-hmm. If you really could ask them, without them thinking that saying the truth wouldn't hurt their family, I think that they would choose to just work on their companies until they are ready, until they have built something that they are comfortable with before they introduce all of those elements into their lives.
Is there a point in your life where marriage might play a role? Do you think there will be a point in your life where marriage might play a role?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I couldn't breathe when you said that. Now I need your listeners to know the girl has options. I have options, and I have been working on this prenuptials.
Got you.
So I never think in terms of marriage, okay, right? Because that's never been something that's been important to me. Because I think that women have been sold that as a means to keep us in our place. I think that we have been sold that because that was the way that we were able to thrive. I think we were sold that because it was our only option. Because jobs, people told us, men told us what we had to do. Men told us how we had to dress. Men told us what professions we couldn't do. And our jobs were more important with keeping a home so that the breadwinners could have something that they came home to. So I don't really think that marriage has ever been sold to women in the right way. Mm. Right? So I never really thought of myself in that type of union. Not that it can't happen, because your audience member is going to be pinned to my TikTok page talking about, is that a ring? Is that a ring? No, it's not a ring. It's fashion jewelry. But I never really thought about the day. I never envisioned myself in a dress walking down the aisle, if that makes any sense.
No, I receive it. No worries.
Now, I have envisioned me with a tall, fine man, jet setting but he's just not my husband.
Got you. Got you. Part of doing business.
But you know, like when it comes to the whole idea of marriage, I just think it's a disservice when people decide that they want to get married when they can't bring their whole selves into the situation. And also there's so many parts of me, because I chose a professional life to work on. On the personal side, I don't even know how to be a girlfriend. I know how to be a CEO. I know how to be a boss. I know how to be a lawyer. I know how to be Donovan's mom, but I don't know how to be anything else than that. So that is going to require a learning curve for me as well, right? And why would I bring such a less than dynamic option to a table for someone that is so much more worthy of something more? So if I decide that I'm going to date, if I decide that I'm going to get married, that becomes a priority for me. And because it's not a priority, I don't think it's fair to bring anybody into my life that I can't, fulfill an obligation as a partner. It's just not fair. And too many people do it.
I receive it. 100%. I receive it.
I'm going to get in trouble on this podcast.
No, you're not. No, you're not. This is the final question. This is the final question. Are you fulfilled, April, and living a prosperous life in the decisions that you are making?
My cup runneth over.
The perfect answer. I love it. I love it. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I only had 3 little quick questions I wanted to ask that I missed from our previous interview. Please check that out. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Tanya.
Miss April. DC Sweet Potato Cake. Find it everywhere. Starbucks, Wegmans. You find it everywhere. Okay? And remember, it's done by a Black woman. Amen. Thank you again, April. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it.